Alright, beloved, we'll just go ahead and put this on video like we did earlier about contemplations we had after having some spiritual influence, right? So, we put that general query out to get access to the UCLA spirit. You guys think I want the spirit to do something with? No. I'll talk to something they had, to people they had, right? Can't call it something, because that's fucked up, because they're actually people, right? So, here's the deal. People's lives have been made and changed by the spirits that these people have captured to contingent their take and their authority in gymnastic development. Now, I'm sure there's other ones, but there are people getting built up in the spirit, but they're ghosts, right? They get access to the group of people by a certain ritual. Group ritual. You don't realize it's a ritual. You're already in. You're witches because you're part of the thing. That the whole university system gets access to certain things. Those high schools, not high school, but high level colleges, AAA and above kind of thing, they get access to certain stuff to have the best spiritual influence, right? The perfected spirits, right? And to perfect spirits. So they get access to these ghosts that had lost their lives through witches taking them, because that's how this is happening. This is people are taking lives and allowing these ghosts through ritual to get access to the students that are doing those activities. Every major sports, people are ending their careers because there are spirits making things happen for them, right? Or their groups are getting together. And this is the other thing that really happens. The spirits aren't always making people injured. It's the oopsies, the forgets, everybody in the gym even, somebody forgot to do this. Even with cameras, the spirits can help, right? So, the understanding that I've been given is that far-reaching, this is an epidemic where spiritual influence has been the leader and choreographer of today's society's view on modern sports, right? Because any of these kids that don't get to make it to be something, what happens to them? Dispositions are terrible, guys. They get access to injuring themselves to the capacity where they could never be effective and maybe not even be a great trainer anymore by these opportunities, right? But we're not following up at them, just like we're not following up after the military stuff. But we could probably fix this one. This one probably we could fix. We could lift all them funny spirits that got off them things, and they just have to be more careful. Because we don't really need college people that are supposed to end up being business development entrepreneurs, whatever it is, the next lawyers and stuff. They don't need to be jumping around doing flippy things. We love the value there. That's entertainment value. But there should be schools that just do that. That there's professions just for that. Not people that get washed up and laid out into the same economy that chews and spits people up that literally get the degrees that are associated with those things and focus full-time on them, right? Not that I'm saying the sports don't focus full-time on the degrees. You still are on the hook for that, right? Well, I know that there ought to be a separation because the world does not communicate that you're of high value. If you get high value there, you would still get a degree, but don't initially pursue the degree, the educational path, but to pursue the sports development because it was more viable for you. And then you have to, later in life, go back to that. What happens? These are dispositions that we create by societal maneuvers and by societal organization that could be instantly changed. I think there should be a huge separation between the kinds of schools that create degrees, and schools that create degrees have to show that they're creating degrees and they're getting jobs. Can't just be out there charging money to make degrees that aren't making people that are ending up with those roles. AKA, they're taking money and they're not making it. Everyone else is on the hook for giving you a fucking marketable product, except for the university system. We need to hold them to task. Not only in this area of spirit theft, which is highly fucked up. I've already asked Rofo Kali on that. That could happen. Everybody be careful now. Right now. Because the top gets chopped first, right? And I don't like New York, and I don't like LA. I don't like the ideals. I don't like the crap. It's disjunctive, disassociative, antisocial behaviors that you think the world ought to do. but you don't like next to you when they happen next to you. Can't have your cake and eat it too. You either manage the hell that you have and shut up, which you're not going to do, because none of us can shut up with the fucking situation you created, right? The game is not weighed out righteously through spiritual theft, and we know that. This is a major reason why their enterprises are favored. See, someone told them how to do that. It's not actually a Saturn thing. They're all in the Greek system. They learned it from Jupiter, that you could do that. But they don't tell you what the other end of some of that is. Because being part of that coven where helps someone get injured, you guys get something spiritual for that. You guys get a spirit added to you if you help somebody get injured. You found that out through Jupiter. You found that out through the Greek system, the sorority system, that you can do certain things that aren't really good, but get everybody good things because you all went together on it. And they're trying to say, oh, well, militaries did this and that, and is that as long as they were together on it, it was okay. Right? They'd be doing that, and you know it. Everyone knows it. But there's fundamentals behind it. Because people wrap in their mind like, why you do that? Well, there's a spiritual reason for those things. And they cause spiritual responses and spiritual benefits. Spiritual judgments. Judgment exists. Stand out too long in the sun, what happens? Judgment, right? You get too hot. You get you could have heat stroke. You could have a sunburn. Think about it. Apply it. These things are not a benefit for society. We don't actually need people getting up in sports and getting opportunities for their children to get ruined. And it's not a level playing field. They're doing things in craft together, cutting certain people out and sacrificing people in order to get spiritual attaché, demonic accoutrement. Right? The Olympian spirit. They were not right. This age was not right. This whole age was shaped by that kind of stuff. Right? Through the wickedness of the past reapplied today. We're reliving it. Right? And I reckon the change to the age of Aquarius is the age of Saturn, where you don't get to benefit from thieving people. So you should not benefit from hurting people together in a coven. You shouldn't benefit from thieving things together in a coven and then get spiritual benefits. Right? That's some extra shit, but that's going on. We all know it's in the entertainment industry for sure. But it's also in these other industries. People don't realize we actually kind of have a necromantic kingdom as it is. It's just hidden. Right? Hidden from sight. And then everybody's dogmaed up so you can't see nothing happen. When the real powers of the planets, the earth, the sun, the moon, right? The spirit, right? The spirit's greater than the world. Because it keeps coming back. Is there some conjecture that the spirit was before the world, according to the creation story? Some conjecture that if the world ends, the spirit would still remain. And there'd be something done with it. Right? Just a thought. Because a power that has all the ingredients and potential has a future for all ingredients. Right? We believe that. Right? We believe that is the future for us. A cohesive age where these things that are not necessary, we still need sports, we still need entertainment, we still need all these things. We just don't need the gamery with it. We need people who get good at things, and you guys don't have to go so far with it, right? Because it'll be entertainment. It won't be this pedestal you never really make it to, guys. It's a diminishing return thing. The older you get, the more injured you can get, right? All that stuff. And the stuff you can get injured on, they can't fix all of it. They'll let you do tumbling and stuff that they can't fix the injuries from if you miss. Right? We know that. Society, we believe, needs to get looked at in a capacity that the things we apply people to, are we following up after the play it forward? What are the dispositions that are potential? Are we accounting for those? Are we just saying, oh, tough luck? Yeah, that's a bad age. That's irresponsible, and we all know that. We shouldn't be putting people up to stuff that we as a society aren't ready to respond to, right? Or don't have the capacity to. We don't have the medical stuff for people to be flipping around like that. We don't really even have the medical stuff to be running around the cars the way they do, if you really look at it. Any day you could be mangled up. What if luck removes from the earth? That man's age, the Pisces age, ends all of a sudden. What are you going to do? Are you going to be driving as fast? Are you going to be flipping as hard? You need to be thinking on your feet, Because if the age changes instantly and we go to a Saturn age, luck is not a thing. Hard work, hard attention, quality effort, and a hand on the plow and an eye on the furrow to not have a deviation is what's going to require. To rest when you're resting. To work when you're working. To not get around things that could be dangerous for you if you don't need to be there, right? Maybe not being everywhere is the future, right? We know something like that's coming. Because the way society is, it can't continue to go this. We're not loading into computers, into machines, and moving on to that. That is not the future for the gods. God said, that's what you guys do. If it gets to a certain point, we'll just drop rocks on you. It won't be a war. It'll just be a showering of rocks from Venus. And you'll just be like, wow, that was fast. Cosmic consequences, right? We still believe that's in the mix because the scriptures have been a rewritten story that's echoed throughout all these societies. Something's happening. And at the end of each age, and we're at the end of that age, they say the age is going further. We know the age was stolen 100 and something years early. We are there. The indications are here. The failure of economy, the business class, the capitalist class, the post-capitalist economy, which is a post-consumerist economy. The capitalist economy is to finance everything into existence, and then when it sells, do it again. Well, the stuff's not selling, and we're still rolling capacities that still need more debt to run the funding for the marketing or for the exposure needed to sell it in other markets because we made products we couldn't, or concepts that in order to continue to fund everybody and continue to employ everybody needing to make it to other places. That is a vortex of diminishing returns that doesn't fit the matrix. A failure, if you will, right? Of a lost cost fallacy that eventually shows up, right? If you're constantly rolling debt and you're not paying off the debt, you're just pushing debt. But you're not making enough to pay the debt off ever. That can't go forever. It never goes forever, right? Every society has that collapse. We're at that collapse. The stock's going up and down. Them being able to squeeze silver for 2 years straight, that's a fucking scam. It went from $120 to $50 in how many months? If you bought, you got. We know that. Fuel's the same thing. Texas, I'm sure, loving making oil right now because it's more expensive than it's ever been. They're kicking the refineries back on. Ridiculous. So your own companies can't wait to kick the refineries back on when you're in peril, when it's most capitalistic for you. Those are companies you don't need in your country. Just some thoughts. Just some thoughts. Those are the same companies that want your blood type, your passport status, because they're international, all these weird things in order for you to be a part of their company. Insanity. Or ask you things that would definitely be a HIPAA violation nowadays. There were always a HIPAA violation to ask you, but we are just never hold them to task. We can't see the end. There's a stoppage everywhere, damn it. Something's gonna happen. All right, later, beloved.